Sure. So it's ahead of my expectations in terms of where the subscribers are, the engagement are.
CNN Plus, CNN's news streaming service that just launched a week or so ago, is doing so poorly that even I, David of the Rational National, am beating CNN Plus in unique daily viewers. And not only am I beating them, I tripled their daily unique viewers on the week that I was away. This is remarkable. The amount of money, and I'll get to the amount of money they pumped into this, and that in combination with the incredible failure that this has been so far is just insane. So this report is out of CNBC. CNN Plus struggles to lure viewers in its early days, drawing fewer than 10,000 daily users. I more than tripled this per day last week while I was away on vacation. During one of my worst performing weeks, I beat CNN Plus, more than tripling their views. And that's just on YouTube alone, let alone on Facebook. Now, I know it's not, a perfect one-to-one comparison. I'm talking about, YouTube unique viewers versus an app you have to download and, use. But we're talking about CNN here. CNN versus me. It is so insane. There is no audience for this. So I'm going to get to how they attempted to lure people in, what big names they brought in. But before I get there, just to hammer home the point of how crazy this is that I'm beating CNN Plus. A few years ago, YouTube decided to promote and fund authoritative news, meaning that they prop up channels like CNN's channel on YouTube, like MSNBC, like Fox News, because they are well-established corporate outlets. So since about 2018, they have been platforming their videos over any independent media. And if you go back to like 2014, 2015, you will see a completely different landscape where you had, TYT, Secular Talk, regularly destroying channels like Fox News, CNN, MSNBC in views on YouTube until YouTube began to change their algorithm after the big scare over, fake news during 2016, and then went even further in 2018. So the fact that I am, pushed down by the YouTube algorithm, and I'm still me, one person, beating CNN Plus is just amazing. Now, before I get to more numbers on this and more insanity, let me play this clip. This is Jason Kilar, who is I think a Warner Media CEO or former Warner Media CEO, but him commenting here on the first week of CNN Plus about how it's ahead of his expectations.
So it's ahead of my expectations in terms of where the subscribers are, the engagement are, the receptiveness that we're getting in terms of people's response to the journalism of CNN Plus. I couldn't be more proud of that team. And it's not an exaggeration, Deidre, to say that that is the future of CNN. I think anyone who does not have a scalable, robust, paid business model digitally doesn't have a very strong future. And a lot of credit I'll give to New York Times and Wall Street Journal because they have a robust digital paid business model. And now CNN does as well.
Now, of course, on the first point about him being, this is ahead of his expectations. How low were your expectations? But apart from that, he's not wrong to point out that these networks, the future is in online media. I mean, that's not the future. That's now. You need to be there now. But you don't necessarily need your own app and your own completely separate subscription service. You could have a YouTube channel, which you already do, have paid subscribers on there. I mean, have a Patreon, I guess. Imagine if CNN launched a Patreon. That may be kind of weird, but they could do that. But there are ways to generate this kind of revenue and do it in a way where you don't have your own app with unique content on that app that is found nowhere else that nobody really cares to watch, because CNN gets the views that it gets because it's just there. Like, it's on in airports, in doctors' offices, and at the dentist. It's, people see clips online. It's something to put on if some big news event's happening to see what's going on in the moment. But are people really running to CNN specific personalities to get their exclusive take through their new app? Clearly, no, but this is what they have tried to do. So CNN sought to make a huge splash with CNN Plus, luring big name talent from rival news networks, such as Casey Hunt from NBC News and Chris Wallace from Fox News. But here is broad skepticism whether there is enough demand to sustain a standalone news streaming service as entertainment first options dominate the landscape. Disney Plus, for instance, posted more than 10 million subs in its first day of existence. Now, Disney Plus, there's a reason why people subscribe to Disney Plus. There's a lot of Disney movies, things that people actually want to watch. The Simpsons are on Disney Plus. New Marvel shows are on Disney Plus. CNN Plus, which is $6 a month, has Casey Hunt, Chris Wallace, the big names that draw you in. Nobody cares. I mean, to be fair, 10,000 people care. 10,000 people care. No one else cares. It is like the fact that they even thought that people really cared about Casey Hunt or Chris Wallace enough to generate millions of viewers. Are you insane? So CNN Plus, apparently you can't even watch live CNN content on there. It's just like exclusive interviews from some of these people or Casey Hunt's exclusive show and Chris Wallace and some other CNN hosts that have exclusive content for that platform. But I mean, the reason that anybody would want to get a CNN app or a streaming service from CNN is, I would imagine, to watch live CNN content. But if you can't even do that, no wonder there was no audience for this. And the amount of money they poured into this. So to date, around $300 million has been spent on the subscription service, which includes a sizable marketing investment. Can you imagine if I, the individual David from the Rational National, who, by the way, people think I'll get emails where it's like, this is for your team. I'm the team. I would like to hire people if I could afford it, but I am one person. I research, I host, I edit, I upload, I do the everything. Imagine I had $300 million. Oh my God, what I could do with $300 million. Not that I even really want to build, a news network. I'm happy being an individual doing this work. I'm happy with what I do. But if I had this kind of investment to actually invest into real, investigative journalists to do real work, instead they put almost all this money into marketing. Do you really have to market as CNN? Do you have to do separate marketing for your app? It's wild to me the amount of money that these networks waste that could go to basically anything else, actual journalism, but instead on marketing their own app, which has been a complete failure. And on their expectations here, so they expected to bring in around 2 million subscribers in the US in the service's first year and 15 to 18 million after 4 years. That's not happening. Unless they do a complete shift. Even if they offered live CNN, streaming or whatever on the app, I still don't think they could hit these numbers. This is just completely out of whack. It shows you really how disconnected these networks are from what people are actually out there looking for. They do not realize that their viewership comes from just being on television. That's why their audience skews older. That's why they're not getting younger generations watching Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. The other part, of course, is the content and what you're actually fighting for or not fighting for, focusing on. But the other thing is just that it's on television. That's why on YouTube, as I said earlier, these networks were not getting good views on YouTube until YouTube propped up their videos over everybody else. Until the algorithm actually worked to benefit them, they also were getting no views on there because nobody really wants to seek out, cable news content. It's just there and you see it because it's there. That they thought bringing in, Casey Hunt, Chris Wallace, all the kids are going to flock to our app to watch Chris Wallace and Casey Hunt is just so amazing to me. Once again, I, David, of the Rational National and beating CNN Plus in daily viewers.